Hi, and welcome to the Ruby Tuesday. My name's Ruben, and today I'm diving into the brand new Apple TV series, primetarget. It's all about prime numbers, power, paranoia, and, well, probably the least prime life decisions you've ever seen. I mean, if the Imitation Game had a baby with the Bourne Identity, and then forced that baby to make advanced calculus, this is probably what you'd get. So is primetarget worth your time, or is it just a prime example of wasted potential? Let's get into it and find out. So talking about the writers and the creators, primetarget is the brainchild of Steve Thompson, who you may know as the man behind episodes of Sherlock and Doctor Who. He's got a knack for weaving intellectual puzzles into gripping narratives. And that's very much on display here. The writing alternates between moments of brilliance and honestly a bit of a slow grind as well. Thompson writes the majority of the episodes with Selena Lim and Thomas Martin each stepping in for one episode. Selena Lim's episode in particular stands out. It injects a bit more energy and character-driven depth into the mix, which helps break up some of the heavier math-laden segments. Brady Hood, who directed all 8 episodes, keeps everything looking sleek and stylish. He worked on Top Boy and The Great, so he's no stranger to high-stakes storytelling with a visually distinctive edge. And believe me, you feel that tension, especially during some of the series' later moments where Edward's equations start to feel like a life or death scenario rather than just your everyday sort of maths. It is very clever until you realize the pace occasionally drags, but more on that later. Let's talk about the cast, because this is where primetarget really shines. Leo Woodall stars as Edward Brooks, the tortured genius at the heart of this story. You might recognize him from The White Lotus, where he played the charming but morally dubious Jack. Here, he dials up the intensity and brings a really nuanced performance to Edward. He's the perfect mix of awkward academic and someone you absolutely believe could unravel the secrets of the universe, sort of. His character does make it hard to root for him, though, because of the type of person he is. The sort of person that will be absolutely absorbed into their work, but will miss everything that's going on around them. Because of this, his character can often feel standoffish at times, a little autistic, perhaps, like he's just not getting what he should be experiencing while he's experiencing it. While we are watching him, he feels something different. Sometimes he can feel a little bit off. So he nails the brief of what the character is meant to bring to TV, but it does feel a bit dry at times. Not all of the time, but enough for me to notice that I didn't care that much for the character. I wasn't that emotionally invested in what happens to him. Then we have Quintessa Swindle as the NSA agent, Tyia Sanders. She's believable in this role. You may know her from Black Adam or Trinkets, but here she's got this kind of sharp, no-nonsense vibe that mimics a Jason Bourne sort of vibe to it, which is a much-needed energy to combat Edward's energy. Together, they've got great chemistry. It's not romantic, which is great, but as the story develops, so does their relationship. There's a trust issue with all the relationships on display in this series, and because of the type of story it is, this is to be expected. They have to navigate these trust issues while trying to unravel why prime numbers theorem is probably going to get them killed. This relationship is the heart of the series and is what kept me watching for the most part. Mostly. And let's not forget the supporting cast here. Sidis Knudsen from Borgen plays Professor Andrea Levin. She acts with a quiet gravitas that was much needed for this series. Well, just fit right in the series. Martha Plimpton, who you may recognize from way back when in The Goonies and recently Mass, brings a steely intensity as Jane Torres. And Stephen Ray from The Crying Game is delightfully enigmatic as Professor James Alderman, although we don't get much of him. There are a number of other actors that I would like to mention, but I don't really want to read off an IMDb page. Suffice to say, the cast is stacked with this. Wonderful actors. Each actor adds layers to the complexity of the web of conspiracies that is on display here, and they all make the world feel really lived in. Themes and mathematics. Let's get a little bit nerdy. At its core, primetarget is a love letter to mathematics. Prime numbers, those pesky little integers only divisible by 1, and themselves, are central to the story. They are also central to cryptography in the real world, which is why Edward's discovery has such massive implications. Without giving too much away, the show explores how something as abstract as numbers can wield enormous power. But it's not just about math, it's about the human cost of genius. Edward's pursuit of his breakthrough pushes him to his limit, both mentally and emotionally. The series dives into themes of obsession, surveillance, and trust. It asks who controls the information and what happens when the wrong people have the keys to the kingdom. So talking about the score and cinematography. Arthur Sharp, who also composed for The Electrical Life of Louis I, delivers a haunting, cerebral sort of score that perfectly matches the series' tone. It's moody, it's atmospheric, and occasionally feels like it's nudging you into Edward's unraveling mind. I found it very understated when it needed to be, and then full of excitement in the tense action scenes. The balance was perfect. And then there's the cinematography by Dan Atherton, who you may know or didn't know that you knew was a cinematographer and still is, I believe, on Slow Horses. The show looks amazing. Every frame feels meticulously crafted with sharp contrasts between the sterile academic world and the shadowy underbelly of the conspiracy. There are a number of scenes involving mathematics and Edward's frantic calculations. These scenes could have been dull as heck, but Atherton's beautifully crafted lighting and lens choices make this series reminiscent of films like A Beautiful Mind and Good Will Hunting. Atherton's work, with some great editing, makes this series beautifully lit for mystery. Let's talk about the release schedule and pacing. So here's where things get a little bit tricky. The first 2 episodes drop together, which is great because they set up the story brilliantly. But after that, it's a weekly release schedule. And let me tell you, each episode ends on a bit of a cliffhanger, which might make you scream at your TV when you get to the end of each episode. I genuinely think sometimes Apple TV Plus likes to torture its viewers. The pacing is also, it's a bit uneven. Some episodes feel like they're spinning in circles with mathematical exposition, while others are packed with tension and really great action. If you're the kind of person who likes to binge watch, then you might want to wait until all of the episodes are out. Otherwise, the slower moments might test your patience. So my final thoughts is this. So is primetarget worth your time? If you love cerebral thrillers, stunning visuals, and stories that make you think, then yes. It's not perfect. The pacing issues and the weekly release format might frustrate some, but the strong performances and compelling themes more than make up for it. Just be prepared to flex your brain a little. The 2 main protagonists, although well acted, are probably not the main draw here. It's the mystery and story that will keep you watching until the end. Speaking of which, no spoilers of course, I wasn't sold in the last few moments of the series. It left me feeling a bit meh. However, I still really enjoyed my time with the series. I'm going to give primetarget 3.5 Nicolas Cages out of 5.
You got one.
If nothing else, it's a great excuse to brush up on your prime numbers. Who knows, maybe you'll crack the code before Edward does. What is your favorite film or TV series that deals with math? I'd love to know, so let me know in the comments. If you get time, I'd love to maybe have a few that I haven't watched just yet. Thanks for watching the Ruby Tuesday. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed my content at all and found it informative and fun. What's your favorite number? Mine's 42, obviously. Until next time, stay geeky, stay awesome, and remember, live long and Tuesday.